Hey guys, this is Mauisnake, and today I wanted to address a topic that I'm approached about pretty frequently, and it's how to split your time when trying to be a competitive Counter-Strike player. So, I think a lot of people ask me this because I don't actually have that many hours put into the game. I only have 3,600 hours roughly in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And a lot of people at my level at the Premier Division are around 5,000 to 8,000, and I was able to accomplish what I have done with actually not spending that much time in it. I just feel like I know how to practice. And so I wanted to show and share with you guys just how to practice at various levels from open to premier. This is finding your split. And just like working out, you're not going to work out full body every single day. You're not going to try to do everything every single day. You're going to divvy your time. You're going to work arms some days. You're going to work chest another day. You're going to work your legs, cardio, whatever it may be. You're not going to just do everything because that just doesn't give you the gains that you're looking for. So here you go. In open, all of these, if you can't read it because you're on your phone or something like that, I'll just be reading it anyways. But for open, this is what I think is key to being a successful player. I think you should start looking at demos just a little bit. I'd say one demo per week is really good. And just kind of understand your spots. You don't have to try to understand the entire game and everything that's going on across everything. Just pick a player that does well and watch the positions they use, watch the nades they throw, and just kind of get a feel for it. And without even really consciously taking notes or anything, you're going to subtly and slowly just begin to pick up on little things that pros do. And when you see yourself playing, you're going to notice the differences. And just one demo a week, you're going to gain so much out of it. It doesn't need to be too much, especially if you're just a player. If you're an in-game leader, you could go for more. But this is mostly directed at general players. Another thing you should do in open is that your mechanics are probably not that great yet. So focus a lot on those, whether it's aim training, on aim bots, or aim reflex, or whatever map you want to use, or just death matching, or even pugging. Grind for B, grind for A, whatever you can do. A group of 5 premier players could practice literally 0 hours and at least make it to intermediate rather easily, and they wouldn't even have to throw grenades for the most part because they could just out-aim everyone. Open's a league. Open is definitely a division where you can just kind of out-aim your way through it. So focus a lot on your mechanics and scrim with as much as with your team as possible, but you don't have to overdo it by any means. And if your team is not scrimming as much as you'd want, maybe you want a couple more hours, don't fret it. Just spend that time deathmatching or pugging or whatever it may be. So my split I wrote down would be 40% team practice. This is all ideal. It doesn't need to be exactly this, but 40% team practice, 50% mechanics training, and 10% demos. Mechanics training includes pugging as well, from my perspective. So for intermediate, this is where you're going to need to learn a little bit more. Teams at this level are going to start to have kind of styles, and players are going to just be able to shoot back a little better. So I'd say 1 to 2 demos per week is ideal for this level. You should try to understand strats just a little bit, setups, plays, how to just use certain utility to get particular map control. All of those can help you out a lot. And again, you could go through it the same way that you went through the other demos. It's not all too difficult, but just kind of be a little more conscious while you're watching the demo. Then keep focusing on your mechanics, of course. There's still a lot of room to improve when you're at the intermediate level, and just scrim as much as possible. You're going to start playing a couple main teams here and there if your team gets lucky with what they find, and just play the best teams you can all the time because they're going to teach you a lot. They're going to do things, and if you see from their perspective what did they do and try to actually think about it, don't just think about, oh, he out-aimed me, but what did they do? Were they trading better? Were they closer together? I mean, all those kind of things. Just playing with your team is going to help you improve a lot. So my split for intermediate would be 45% team practice, 40% mechanics training, and 15% demos. So up the demos just a little bit, and up the team practice a little bit, and you probably don't need to focus on your mechanics quite as much, but still should be a pretty important part of your routine. Now for main, this is where the meta changes a little more drastically. This is where pretty much everyone at this level, including yourself, should be able to aim at a decent level at this point. So now to get the most out of your time, you should be watching demos to understand CT sides a lot more. It's very easy to just run at a bomb site with 5 Ts and overwhelm CTs. So how do pros deal with that kind of aggression And what are plays that CTs make? What I wrote down here is that you should understand CT aggression, how to ruin strats, because what a lot of teams are going to be doing as they're moving from intermediate to main is they're going to have their playbook still. They're going to have a couple strats, a couple splits that they came up with in the previous season or that they come up, recently, and they're just going to try to run those. But if you can throw a wrench in their system, these teams do not have plan Bs. So if you can disrupt the plan A, you will put yourself in a situation that you would rather be in and they would rather not be in. At this point, though, you should have very solid mechanics to be in main, or maybe in advanced. I guess this would apply for that league as well. And you should just scrim the best teams you can, whether those are advanced teams or sometimes you can get premier scrims. All of those will help you out a lot. And you should spend the most time now doing team practice. That should be a real big goal for you. And if your team is not practicing as much as you would like, you might want to look for another team. Or, it's not always that easy, but just be on the lookout for that if you don't feel like your team's goals match what your individual goals are. So my split for main would be 50% team practice, 30% mechanics training, and 20% demos. So again, up your team practice, lower your mechanics practice, and up your demo watching. And finally, for Premier, I've played only an individually successful season of Premier so far, and this is where kind of a lot of the splits went out the window, and I just said, screw it, I'm going to just grind as hard as I can, and I just worked on everything all the time. I spent so much time trying to just be the best player that I could be. I worked on my mechanics a lot every day. I watched a lot of demos. I was watching other Premier teams as well, so kind of just thinking of little ways to anti-strat, just a little bit here and there. Just the split is just grind your ass off. Just at this point, you should know what you're doing. You should know what you're weak at. You should know what you're good at. And you should be able to feel yourself out. I don't think there's one routine that could help everyone for this level. There's no singular meta of what it takes to be successful in Premier, and that's pretty much it. But one thing I think you guys need to remember is that this is a game. This isn't your work, so don't do these things until you hate them. If you're not enjoying I think you should do all three of these things: team practice, mechanical training, and watch demos. But if you really aren't liking mechanics practice or whatever, watch more demos. Or if you really can't, you should really watch at least one demo a week. But but I really advise you to do more than that. If you can't bring yourself to do it, maybe work on your mechanics a little bit more. People specialize, and try to just continue to love the game, because you aren't getting a salary. You're not getting the sickest Cloud9 sponsor out there, unless some reason someone from Cloud9 is watching this. And you're just a player in a league. You're probably putting more money and time into this league than is being given back to you. So spend a time playing a pug with friends, like at least a couple times a week, or play some matchmaking. Or to this day, I still play Scouts Knives by myself. I just join one server that I consistently frequent, and I just talk trash to the people in there and headshot everyone. It's just fun. Okay, remember to just love the game, because too many people get caught up in just this grind of just trying to work so hard, and then they start to hate the game, and then they burn out. And if you want to be the best player you can be, use your time wisely, but also just remember to love what you're doing as well. So that's what I have to say, guys. Hopefully this helps you manage your time a little bit better, and hopefully you find some success with this. So thanks for watching. Peace out.